and welcome to another video here on Sam's Crafty Castle. So today we are going to have some fun with stencils. Again, I don't know why I made that sound like we've never done it before, but we just did it last time and here we are again, doing it again. Because I am just really into stencils right now. So I just wanted to share another little technique. It is probably not super unique, honestly, but we'll give it a go, right? So I'm just taping the stencil down here to my workspace, and we are once again using a stencil from Newton's Nook again, and this one is called a pumpkin patch. And it's basically a whole bunch of little pumpkins and vines and leaves, and it's just really fun. It's a great fall stencil to use. And I don't like pumpkin, like I don't like to eat it. I don't know, I just don't like to eat them. But I love pumpkins, and I love having them around as decorations and things like that. So, and using them on my cards. They just scream fall to me. And Halloween and all that good stuff. And yeah, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm having a really hard time believing it's already October. Like, what even happened? So, here we are in October, doing fall things. Halloween's not that far away. It's just a whole lot of crazy, honestly, if you ask me. So, here we go. So this is what we're doing today. We are coloring in our stencil, if you couldn't tell from the video title. I'm using markers today, but I'll admit this video has been a challenge to edit. My microphone didn't want to cooperate, so getting this voiceover recorded, this is actually my 4th time doing it. So after watching this video about, 4 times through, I have seen many different ideas come across my head after watching this. So I'm using my Copic markers today. You could definitely use watercolors or colored pencils, or I was thinking even crayons or your inks. I mean, you can use anything to color it in. And I will say part of the reason I chose to do this with this stencil in particular is because it's got more of a defined image to it. It's not just a pattern. It is a pattern, like the pumpkins are on there in a pattern, but I'm just going to use this one as an example, like the Gina K Designs Rounded Swirl pattern, or even the Falling Leaves one that we used last time. They're kind of just a pattern. Like, a leaf is just a leaf for the most part. That isn't, you know what I mean. Like, the leaf pattern is just a leaf pattern. Here you have pumpkins, there's vines and stems and leaves and things that look great when they're more defined as to what they are. So that's why I decided this one will be a good one to color. But just to give you some of the ideas, because I think next time we're going to do foil, we're not going to do stencils. So just to give you an idea of what I've been looking at and with this and some of the ideas I went through trying to film this video, I thought you could ink blend it and then add the details in with your colored pencils, in which case I probably would have gone for more of a realistic looking pumpkin. This one comes across a little bit more whimsical. Just because there is less colors, it's not as detailed, it's not as defined. But with the pencils, I think you could get really, really detailed and make some more realistic looking pumpkins, if you will. Add more highlights, things like that. If you wanted to get that detailed, or you could just color them orange. Like, that's the fun part about card making. It's as complicated or as simple as you want it to be, and neither of those ways are wrong, ever. So, but like, what else did I think about doing? I also thought about doing flock. Rena K Designs has that neon line with Thermoweb, and they have an orange and a green, and I thought that would be really fun. But basically it just came down to, when I was filming this video, I was a little bit short on time. So I realized the markers would definitely be the fastest way to get it done, and I could do this and tell you about all the other ideas in the video and the voiceover. So basically that was what ultimately influenced my decision, and now I have some tips on doing this with markers for you. So basically the first thing I would say is use a high quality cardstock. I kind of took the cheap way out on this one. I had to buy some cheaper white cardstock from Amazon for a project a few years ago, and I'm honestly to the point where I just don't want to have the cheaper white cardstock around anymore, so I'm just trying to use it up. And I thought for this video it would be okay to kind of take the little cheat way, and it was okay, but I wouldn't recommend anyone else doing it. Just because, and maybe it was just because I was using the markers too, like maybe if I just ink blended or something, I would have been okay. But the markers feathered a little bit, which basically just means they, spread a little on the paper after I colored because there was so much ink going down on it. And so some of my pumpkins are a little less defined. I lost the lines of the stencils that the stencil leaves behind, just because, like I said, the marker kind of bled underneath what the stencil was doing, or where the stencil was. So, and I'm looking at the card now, like in real life, and honestly, now that I'm looking at it, really the only bad one is the first pumpkin. It doesn't really have its lines in it, if you will, and some of the leaves look a little bit more like blobs than leaves. But other than that, for the most part, there was one vine too that had a little issue and kind of got a little unruly, if you will. But I ended up cutting that off because I wasn't planning to die cut this panel at first, and then at the last minute changed my mind and decided to. So his unruliness didn't matter in the end anyway. So that would be my first tip. Make sure don't skimp on the cardstock if you're going to do it with markers. Actually, I would say don't do it. Don't skimp on the cardstock if you're going to do it with pencils either. Especially if you're going to do like the ink, laying down the ink part first. Then, what else what was my other tip? Hold on, let me check my notes here. Stencils. So the stencils, I say that like that's what I'm going to talk about. No. Because I used the marker, I just want everyone to know my stencil did stain a little bit after using the markers on it. Two things that probably could have helped this. A, washing the stencil off right after I used it and not waiting like an hour and a half till I finished filming the video to clean them off. If I'd cleaned it off right away, I probably would have, and I would have, not had an issue. The other thing I had heard once from a Tim Holtz video is that you can use hand sanitizer to clean it off, and I actually haven't tried that yet. I'm going to try it. It may be too late because it's pretty right on there. I filmed this video about a week before I'm recording the voiceover, so it may be too late now, but I'm not one to necessarily worry about staining and things. To me, that just means your product is well loved, but I know some people are really worried about that, so I just wanted to share that little bit. Okay, this thing I want to talk about is that box right there. And basically, that is my scrap box. I don't know about any of you guys, but I have an issue with scraps. And that either, A, I just throw them out, which is just kind of wasteful, because, it just is. You're not using it. Or I let them sit around in my craft room for about 35 million years. And they never get used, and they just take up space until they drive me insane. So I started trying to do this thing where I kind of collect all of my scrap papers over a month, and then when I'm done, I don't know when I'm done, but when I get to the end of the month, I die cut them all. I grab my Gemini, I grab a bunch of dies, and I just go to town, die cutting all of them in different shapes, different banners, circles, ovals, rectangles, whatever sort of basic shape dies I have, and then I put them all in that little container, and I keep them there. And when I have a project like this where I need something, a basic shape type deal, I can go in there and grab it and see if I can find the right size. I do struggle with this a little bit, just because I'm one who always is like, no, I must just cut the right size that I need, because I know what I want. And sometimes I get frustrated if I can't find it in the box. But for the most part, it's been working well for me so far. I still have more scraps than what I can keep up with, but it's working. We're getting there. I'm going to have to upgrade to a bigger box, I think. I think I'm going to have to go up to one of the bigger boxes that, the Gina K kits come in. That box that I have, in case you're interested, is actually from her comfort block set that you can get with the 5 blocks in it. I just reused it. I took the blocks out, put them in something else. I do really recommend the blocks. I don't use them in this video because I go for my Misty, but if you're in the market for some acrylic blocks, those are definitely the ones I recommend. They're super comfortable, super easy to use, and they come in so many different sizes. And so I will link that in the description below if you want it. And like I said, if you're in the market for acrylic blocks, I recommend going for that because you can just, use the box then for something else. Otherwise, I'm sure you can find something else that's similar somewhere else on the internet. And then we also have this stamp set. So I found in there a white double stitched rectangle that I had cut, and I fit perfectly with this "You Are the Pumpkin to My Spice," and I thought that went perfectly with my pumpkin background. And that stamp set is from the Thankful and Blessed stamp set, which is by Gina K Designs. And then after I laid that down, I decided we still needed a little something something. So I got out my Pretty Pumpkins stamp set, which is from Sunny Studios, and I'm just going to stamp that really quick. And that is a really nice layering stamp set. It has like 3 different pumpkin shapes in it, I think, a couple different stem shapes. I want to say there's a vine in it too. I don't have the stamp set in front of me, so I'm sorry if I'm wrong. But it is still a really nice stamp set, and I really much like it. And it did take me a few tries to get my color situation right. And eventually I ended up settling on the Gina K Designs Sweet Mango and Tangerine Twist combination. And to get the second layer, all I did was stamp the Sweet Mango twice. And again, this is also not the same not so great paper from Amazon. Just some generic place on Amazon. So, that's a struggle too. But you know what? That's really all I have as far as technique wise and all that stuff for this video. So I think I'm just going to leave you with some music, and you'll see here I'm going to stamp the Sweet Mango twice to make the second layer, and then we have Tangerine Twist to round it out. But like I said, pretty much I'm going to stamp this pumpkin, and then I'm going to put everything together, and you guys don't need to hear me talk about all that. So I wanted to say thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And have a crafty day.